Ladies and gentlemen, a finger snap applause for the one and only Priya.
Okay. At the tender age of 17, Savitribai, supported by her husband Jyotiba, founded India's first native-run school for girls at the Bhide wada in Pune. This has long been seen as the beginning of female education in India. When we consider the importance of education and liberation, it was also the beginning of the Indian movement for women's freedom. At 18, this courageous young woman, along with Fatima Sheikh, opened a school for Shudra and Ati-Shudra adults in the Sheikh family's wada, also in Pune. So these are the lower castes and the untouchables. This too changed the course of Indian history. It was done at a time when challenging the caste system was considered equal to challenging God. More than a century after her passing, we had named universities after her. Yet her poetry, even in the original tongue, hadn't made it to our bookshelves. It's safe to say that as a woman and a person from a low caste, she had been sidelined to the margins of history. This great misfortune for the world has been one of life's greatest privileges for me, since I took it upon myself to translate her poetry from Marathi to English, my two mother tongues. Now her books are available across the globe. And I never thought I'd say this, but thank you, Amazon. Anyway, here's a letter from me to this great revolutionary. Dear Savitri Akka, I hope it's okay that I call you that. Since I have no elder sister of my own, I will bestow this great love and responsibility upon you. I write across time on the other side of history, with a small book of your poems in my hands and a heart full of gratitude. I've always wondered how you walked with your head held high when the Brahmins pelted you with stones and cow dung for standing up for the Shudras and the Dalits. Not much has changed on that front, Savitri Akka. The upper castes still exist, and so many of them still hurl abuses at anyone who speaks up against their oppressive systems. In fact, all protests are called propaganda now. And all propaganda is called nationalism. Nonetheless, I've always tried being brave. I've tried to use my voice against these evil systems, but they're so fast at shutting one down. And so, for so long, Savitri Akka, I was petrified. If I read a poem by Soirabai or Zanabai calling out casteism, they told me my Marathi was too weak to speak for Marathi poets. If I read out passages from Dr. Ambedkar's books, they called him a joker. Him, the man who wrote the Constitution. And me, a fool funded by foreign agencies. And when I criticized the Manusmriti, I was told I would burn to ashes. So often, dear sister, I hid from these bullies. I kept my head down and my Instagram account private, and tiptoed around their aggressive Savarna egos. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I was afraid of hell and its consequences. I grew in so much blind superstition that I questioned my own karma. I wondered what crimes I had committed in my past life to be born in this one as a Dalit woman. But you told me, Savitri Akka, to denounce Manu, and my shackles broke. I awoke from pain, from centuries of enslavement. In your words, Savitri Akka, I found my light, my Jyoti. I laugh at their abuses now, and like you, I too try to stand up for my brothers and sisters, the Shudras and Dalits, descendants of King Bhide. I often say how I found you as one finds a lantern in a long, dark room. I flatter myself, but in so many ways I saw myself in you. Like you, I never found solace in the rituals of pandits and godmen. Unlike you, though, I followed them blindly. You see, I believed my candle was lighting up the temple in my home. It was in your poems that I finally understood gods don't live in temples. They live in books by protest poets and revolutionaries. It was in your verses calling out the Manusmriti and Brahminical ritualism that I understood God doesn't need my candle. I, a mere mortal, cannot light up his temple. You see, when I read your songs about Shiva, I understand I cannot light a candle for God even if I wanted to. Because God is light, the very light we all carry within. Sometimes in the evenings when the house is quiet, I imagine you, Savitri Akka, sitting next to me, singing OVs in praise of Lord Shiva, of Chhatrapati Shivaji, of Chhatrapati Rani Tarabai. I am not one to hold a note, Savitri Akka, but I hum along. And when I drift out from this wakeful dream, I join my hands in prayer and say, Ida Pida Taru De, Bade Rajya Yehu De. Jai Savitri, Jai Bhim.